I'm happy with the deportations. I think a lot of people are.
I would be happy if they were actually happening at serious numbers, but they're not.
I think they're happening at serious numbers.
Why aren't they bragging about it and posting it?
It's not a good look to brag about your concentration camps.
It's a very good look to brag about how many people you're deporting, because that's what America wants. The majority of people want that.
I mean, if you phrase it correctly, they do, I guess. But
yeah, they wanted it until they saw it. Most people didn't like the way he was doing it. Certainly when citizens were getting shot, like, people didn't like that. And, you know, there were riots in the streets. It looked a little Gestapo. The funding in it was off the charts.
Nothing's changed. They just shot a guy the other day. They shot a guy through a door and killed him.
Either the press coverage has lightened up on it, or I'm just too into video games. One of those is true.
I'm sure it's a mix of both, but they've just slowed down on it. Like, he's even said, like, we're not going after the people in farming. We're not going after the agriculture. We're not going after the factories and manufacturers. We're going after just the criminals. Yeah, he did. And like, that's why they were talking about it's going to be millions. It's going to be millions. And then it's a couple 100,000 the first year. Maybe a couple 100,000 this year, just a pittance, nothing. People want mass deportations. And I like the way they were doing it was like potentially the easiest way ever, where they're like, just show up and we will buy you a ticket to whatever country you say you're from. Just show up and we'll buy you a ticket.
Like, I'm thinking back to in Chicago, there was a building. They went in there at 2 a.m. They literally took everyone out of that building and zip tied them, making them sit on the curb in a Chicago winter, separating kids from parents, not letting people get dressed before they go outside. And I forget how many people were in the building. I really don't remember if it was like 37 or 137, but I know that the amount that got deported was two. Everyone else in that building was a citizen. And they just fucking cleared it all out and had them sit there in the Chicago snow, undressed, zip tied. Those are all citizens. Like, that is not the way that you do deportation.
What is the way you would do it? Because they get blocked constantly. Like, they try and deport people.
They took them out of their beds. It was 2 a.m.
What would if you had your druthers and you were in charge of deportations, and you know there's tens of millions of these people, like,
we wouldn't be on the same page. I would focus much more on recruiting immigrants like a sports team. You know, what does America need right now? Right now, unemployment's not doing, like, new jobs creation is bad. So I'd have a really, really limited immigration program. But if the economy was hotter, you'd be like, what do we need here? We need some farm hands. We need some construction guys. We need some software engineers. Like, what do we need? What do we got? Like a sports team.
That was another way he sucked, is like, part of what got him elected with dudes under 40 was like reduction in H-1Bs. Like, I know people who work in tech, and H-1Bs have devastated their careers and their ability to like start larger families than they want, like that they wanted, and they can no longer afford. And then he goes out and he's like, we're increasing it. We're increasing H-1B. Just a bitch. Israel's bitch all around. Sick of them.
But he's surrounded himself with tech bros, and he's a very easy to influence president.
I think his entire internal cadre is like, it's either tech people who love their slaves for the H-1B system, or it's just neocons who are like, oh yeah, that thing that got you elected, the deportations, we'll get to that after Israel's next shipment. We'll get to that after this.
The number one issue he got elected on was the economy. I think people had fond memories of the good part of his economy in his term, and they completely forgave him for the COVID years, which fine. And they wanted that to replay. They wanted low inflation. They wanted booming economy, and all his moves hike inflation and hurt the economy.
And all of it, we've just been on a crazy march downward since COVID. So it's been a 6-year march downward for the middle and working class, Americans. Like, and all of these large manufacturing firms, all of these big capital firms, they love illegal immigration. They love legal immigration. They love not having to pay Americans. And that infuriates young men who are trying to start a life and start families and buy houses. And that's why he's lost so much support with them, because he's doing nothing.
What does he need support for? How is support useful to him?
to pass his agenda. But now he doesn't have an. Now his agenda is so
that he's trying to get through Congress right now.
His agenda is just giving as much as he wants to Israel and doing
his agenda is enriching himself. Yeah. Like Trump's top three priorities are Trump, and Trump. And if you look at it through that lens, he's killing it. Trump is enriching himself. He just got another 1.7 billion, I think, from the taxpayers for that like IRS.
1776. He made it a funny.
Yeah.
He made it a funny. He's like Sidney Crosby with his 87.
$1.776 billion in a slush fund that he can do anything he wants with. And I think a lot of it's going to end up in his own pocket. That's what he typically does. And then he'll dish out some rest of the allies because that's how dictators keep themselves in power. And it's just robbing taxpayers.
Yep.
And then anyone who thought he'd do anything differently was a fool.
Well, he did say he would do things differently, and the alternative was voting for the retarded.
Better.
Hold on, the alternative was voting for the retarded lady who was going to let 10 million more illegals into the country.
Well, that was not her platform, but
it wasn't Biden's either. But anyone who voted for Biden and thought he wasn't immediately going to move people around the country using taxpayer funds is a fool.
Move people around the country?
They
immigrants, you mean?
They made a federal app to make it easier to avoid ports of entry, so that then 1 million people could get it. They did.
That's crazy. I don't know about it. So
and 10 million people came in, and then they used federal funds, taxpayer money, way more than 1.7 billion, by the way, tens of billions, to fly people around the country. Many of these people are dependents. They pay for their healthcare. They subsidize their housing. They pay for their schooling. They use our infrastructure. All their social programs are paid for by us. Like,
not our wonderful infrastructure.
Not our, well, it's taxed even heavier, and taxed, I mean, like the use case of it, not like.
I think he's doing great.
Actually,
I think Obama's numbers were greatly inflated by them counting, turning people around at the border. I bet if you compared like Obama's go out and snatch them and get them home numbers to Trump's, they pale in comparison. He's getting like 450,000 a year or something like that. I know that's not what you want, but he's getting 450,000 a year.
So he'll get about like,
is that number right?
10 to, so he'll get 10 to
430 last year. It's projected for 60 this year, 450 a year.
So like 10 to 13% of what Biden let in, he'll get out. And
I mean, that number is, look, I'm not going to argue with that number, but it's not based on any facts.
You just see the border crossing numbers. It's like 9 million or so.
Counting?
The Border Patrol.
They counted each one as they walked past. That's not their job.
They count how many illegal entries there are, and then there are lawfare.
Hard to count to 10 million. I just don't. I'm not saying it wasn't 10 million. But that's an estimate. That's our estimate.
What I mean, you can look at the numbers of how many illegal crossings there were.
I'm gonna see if
I'd be surprised if the number was 10 million.
There was a chart from the Center for Immigration Services and Immigration Studies, Immigration Services, and there was one from Border Patrol and other border crossings agencies. It was a crisis that the media denied at the time, and that's what got Trump elected. Because, dude, the Texas tried to put barriers up on their southern border near the Rio Grande, and because it was such a crisis, Biden's feds said, no, you can't do that. And he sent National Guard to remove the barriers. Like, they did everything to incentivize illegal immigration because it helps them electorally. Yeah. It was crazy. And I'm
not arguing that under the Biden administration, it seemed like they really didn't have a handle at all on illegal immigration. They clearly didn't.
But it was on purpose. And so,
like, just looking, 10 million seems to be the number of encounters, and 1.5 to 2 million is the gotaways. But I'm still looking into it.
I'll have to find it because it's an amount that's absurd, and there was nothing to tell people. Like, it was such a problem that really was like the total fumbling, seemingly intentionally, of the border crisis under Biden, or rather the unelected bureaucrats running the country while he was, having ice cream and falling off bikes. Like that, there was no indication that Harris wasn't going to do similar shit.
The Pew Research Center says there's 14 million in America. The idea that, and I can even look at the start of his term, it was 10. So maybe 4 million got in over his years.
I don't think that passes muster because they were saying there were 11 million illegals in like 2003.
Okay.
Some of them died.
So my research,
Some of them died.
one is the Center for Migration Studies. I don't know. The other is Pew Research.
What would they know about it, Woody?
Well, here's the thing. If I hear of an organization whose name is right on the nose that I've never heard of, I worry they're biased. Like,
sure.
You know, this is the Center for H-1B looking intos. And I'm like, you're a little on the nose for this. I've never heard of you, but I'm worried. But the other one, Pew Research, I mean, their reputation is their business, you know, so.
Yeah, it sounds like he let about 4 million illegal people, which is a crime against your fellow Americans. If you ask me, it's akin to treason if you let 4 million people invade the country. But I don't think it's 10 million. And it looks like Trump is gonna get almost 2 million out in his second term. Seems pretty good to me.
2 million out.
Yeah,
but it was like, wasn't it like 300 and something thousand the first year?
No, it was 430,000.
So if that continues, it'll be like 1.6.
Well, it didn't continue. So the first year it was 440,000, and this year it's on track to exceed 460. So
it makes sense that it would get better because a lot of the funding for ICE happened in that first year, so they probably weren't firing on all 8 cylinders.
They got an army, a literal army.
I hope it does accelerate. That would be great, but I don't have faith in him. His priorities are like
you're not going to go to $1 million a year, but like I wouldn't be surprised in his 4th year if he keeps this up, if he gets well over 500,000. We'll see. I mean, again, I'm very happy with the immigration stuff. I think that he's done as well as he could, especially when you talk like they handled it so poorly in Minnesota and some of those places when things went bonkers and those people died with all that public backlash, and they're still going. They didn't like just stop. They just put a better face on things.
Didn't Trump right after that kind of renege on a lot of it and say, we're not going to go at, we're just focusing on the criminals now.
No,
we're going at, he did have a public statement.
First of all,
we're not going after the manufacturers.
He lies.
I was going to say, like, now I agree with both of you because I do think he said something like that. But what Trump says and what's true are rarely related.
Yeah, Steve. When it's you see his border czar. That guy foams at the mouth to catch some illegals. He's all about it. They couldn't have. I'm not saying that's a good guy. I don't know if I'd want that guy at my church picnic, but goddamn, if he's not like all about his job, he lives for it. They don't take
Stephen Miller off of TV. That motherfucker was losing his, I know who you're talking about, but Stephen Miller was on like doing the cable news circuit, foaming at the mouth, looking like a fucking Nazi every time he's on the TV. The way he talked about Greenland, you know, just we're going to go in there, take it over. Like, would you militarily? It's like, doesn't even take a military. We'll just roll in there and call it ours. If you can't protect yourself, you're not a country yet. And it like that fucker is, I mean, yeah, true-ish if your country is an asshole and you're not worried about your international reputation.
Not the 1400s.
It's like there's a reason we're fucking up in the Strait of Hormuz, and it's because we have no friends, because we threatened all our friends for the year ahead of that.
So I think the reason they're
now we're isolated.